everyone. Welcome back to Myrna and Jenn Read the Apocrypha. We are just reading it. Okay. We've done a series, if you haven't seen it, a series on Adam and Eve, all of that good stuff. We're now reading Jubilees, and we are knee deep in the middle of a few things. We are at the point in about the if you're reading the King James Version of the Bible, it'd be about Genesis 29 in there. And this is all about, the trifecta, the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And now we're on Jacob. Mm-hmm. And Jacob has married his wives. He's married both Rachel and Leah, not in that order. Plus, he got a couple of handmaids in there as well to end up with, I'm going to say 12 children. Yep. Because, Jacob is the father of Joseph, and we'll just call it, way to go, Donny Osmond, his Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Well, they had more than 12 kids. They had 12 boys.
They had 12 boys. Thank you, Myrna, for the correction. Yes, 12 boys. So this is Jacob. These are his sons, and they come from 4 different mothers. He favors Joseph. Now I fully understand why in that part of the story, Joseph is favored, because he comes from Rebecca, he comes from Rachel, who was his favorite wife. That's the lady he wanted to marry, that it took so long to get her. So there's his story. Right now, today, we are in Jubilee chapter 30. And we are going to be talking about quite a few things. So hold on as we talk about God today. Hold on as we talk about some situations and see where this story continues. So
hang on to your britches. This is going to be an interesting one.
Because
I read ahead and I'm not liking it, but let's go ahead and do it.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and do it, because we just keep moving through. We just keep going.
We just keep pushing along.
Just like
the little pioneers. We just push along.
Yeah, push along. And the interesting thing, though, from last week when we talked about it, is Jacob did have a problem with his brother Esau, that he seemed it seemed implied that he bought his favor. And he also had a problem with Laban, his uncle, and he seemed to work that out. And now he's living in his own area with his wives and all of his flocks and all of his things. So he's kind of got his own space right now.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get on in here to Jubilee. For us, chapter 30. And let's go. Okay. First 1 here to 3. And in the first year of the 6th week, he went up to Salem, to the east of Shechem, in peace in the 4th month. And there they carried off Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, into the house of Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, the prince of the land. And he lay with her and defiled her. And she was a little girl, a child of 12 years. And he besought his father and her brothers that she might be given to him to wife. And Jacob and his sons were wroth because of the men of Shechem, for they had defiled Dinah, their sister, and they spake to them with evil intent and dealt deceitfully with them and beguiled them. All right, that's a start.
Yeah, we started out really good.
Okay, the first one says, to the east in Shechem in peace. That's where he went. He went up to Salem. And Jacob's daughter gets taken off and defiled. So someone had their way with her. All right, that's just wrong. That's evil.
And I find it interesting that they let us know how old she is, the child of 12 years.
They did say that. Mm-hmm.
And I know in olden times they've married pretty young, but I guess maybe this is saying that is too young.
Apparently, it
Maybe
seems
God
like,
has actually told us what is good according to him and what is not.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Or maybe this is just their thought. God's
Maybe
not involved in it yet.
I don't. Obviously, there was a line, right?
Yeah.
She's too young.
Yeah, there's a point where they're too young.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say that I know of any that got married that young. I've heard of 14, 15
Right.
back then.
Right.
But I don't know about 12, but maybe I don't know. I don't keep track of that. But I find it interesting that they would let us know how old she is. Like that is an important thing, right? I mean, they only make these small little verses, right? So you know that they're thinking about everything they're going to put in this little verse because that's all that's going to explain this.
Right.
And
right,
they choose to tell us how old she is, which makes me think that we're supposed to take something from that, right?
Right. I find it just that part to me is interesting that they specified her age.
Yeah.
And yet it seems though in the verses that the problem that they had was that she was defiled. Which I'm going to agree, that's a problem. Did they have a problem with her being 12 and being able to marry someone? I don't know, but they didn't like that she was defiled, which
Yeah.
I'm going to say everyone should believe that that is evil.
Yeah, that's too young.
And I will put that word on it, that it's evil. It's an evil act.
Yeah.
To violate someone in that way. I find it interesting too because I'm scanning here
I don't know.
Genesis.
Yeah, I don't know that they haven't specified whether she was too young to be wife or whether it was just because they had to live with her.
Correct. I will tell you though that in the Genesis, which is specifically Genesis chapter 34 here with this story, I do not see them at all saying her age. But they do say that she's the daughter of Leah, from Leah.
Oh, from Leah.
So again, we get these very different accounts. Here it's specific age. Over there, they say that her mom was Leah. So you get this information. And I do like kind of putting them together in it because they call her a damsel, but what age is a damsel? Because they don't call her a damsel here, but in Genesis, they call her he loved the damsel and spake kindly unto the damsel and said to his dad, get me this damsel to wife. Interesting language to me. Because I think if you put that she was 12 years old in the Bible, everyone who read the Bible would be like, that's wrong, dude. That's just wrong. Okay, I admit not everyone, but most people would find that to be horribly wrong.
Okay, I'm looking up in the dictionary. It says damsel is archaic English word used to refer to a young woman or girl.
Okay.
That is unmarried.
Okay, so that's why they chose that word. She was young. She was a young girl, unmarried.
Yeah.
That's
interesting.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Today's the day I'm going to say it. In this instance, men.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's see what happens now because
let's see what happens.
The problems have not been solved yet.
No.
Okay, verse 4. And Simeon and Levi came unexpectedly to Shechem and executed judgment on all the men of Shechem and slew all the men whom they found in it and left not a single one remaining in it. They slew all in torments because they had dishonored their sister Dinah. And thus let it not again be done from henceforth that a daughter of Israel be defiled, for judgment is ordained in heaven against them that they should destroy with the sword all the men of the Shechemites, because they had wrought shame in Israel. And the Lord delivered them into the hands of the sons of Jacob, that they might exterminate them with the sword and execute judgment upon them, that it might not thus again be done in Israel, that a virgin of Israel should be defiled.
You're right, Myrna. This one's going to be a doozy.
Like I said, this chapter, and we're still not done. We're still not done with what I have read. Kind of, what's the word? Kind of messes with your idea of God.
Yes.
Okay, because it says here that the Lord led them into their hands of the sons of Jacob, that they may kill them. And if if you have built this image or view of what you think God or the Lord is,
right,
that messes with it. Because yes, they did wrong, but do we ever put in our image of the Lord a person that will execute judgment?
Yeah, this is where you get the Old Testament wrath God.
Yes,
right?
this is where you get the hellfire and damnation God, right? And the one that will make you feel like if you do one thing wrong, he's not going to love you. Like we talked in one of our videos in Latter-day Women Warriors, his love has nothing to do with your actions, has nothing to do with any of that. That's totally separate from everything else. It's a separate feeling and relationship that causes him to love you. But to find this, and you have this view of the Lord being loving, caring, forgiving. My question here is, have we found the Lord's Achilles tendon?
What was that last part?
Have we found the Lord's Achilles tendon? Is, hurting his children maybe where he begins to show his wrath?
Yeah, and the interesting thing here is that is this putting something onto God that was on Jacob and his sons? I have a hard time with the idea that God would be like, Jacob, slay all of the men here, slay everyone.
But he's done it before,
where he has slayed all people because of defiling one person. I mean,
he's destroyed whole places, Sodom and Gomorrah. He's destroyed, he's destroyed a large number of people, and I would say not every person in Sodom and Gomorrah probably deserved it.
But that was God destroying the city. Here it's,
if this is what happened, yes, but if this is really true that he led them into their hands, what's the difference?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to defend because I have a hard time with it myself. But we have seen where God has done things like this.
Yes.
We do have accounts where he has.
Which makes him mysterious, because you would think it's against God's nature here in doing this. And yet he's the only one who can see outside our little box of earth. He's the only one that fully understands all of his own character, his decision process, his relaying information to his children and asking things of them, and his judgments on that.
Well, and he's the only one that knows what's in the heart.
Correct. So I find it interesting that in this next little bit here, I'm just going to be interested to see what the rest of this says, because over in Genesis, as I've been scanning it, it uses the word deceit, that Jacob was deceitful with talking to Shechem and his father.
Yeah, after it happened.
After it happened, that he was deceitful, and eventually they had conversation, and then it was later that they ended up killing them. So I just find it interesting where, again, we get these two accounts, and that one has a lot to say about the story, and this one is like, and she was defiled and they went out and killed everyone.
Yeah.
It's like short, concise, not a lot of extra context or anything. And I'm wondering if the context here matters.
And that's why I think that 12-year-old is so important for some reason.
Right.
Because they're not using a lot of words. They're not
Correct.
explaining a lot, but they do take the time to tell you how old she is.
Right. They do.
To me, that means something to
the person who wrote this.
The person who wrote this, and maybe even to the society or to God. I don't know. It means something because they use very few words, but yet they use those words. They made this.
Very true.
They made the time to put those in. I don't have the answer, but that's what I'm seeing. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Let's continue the story here and see where we go, because there's an interesting point in Genesis that I'd like to bring up if they don't bring it up here.
Okay. You go.
All right. So 7.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is any man who wishes in Israel to give his daughter or his sister to any man who is of the seed of the Gentiles, he shall surely die, and they shall stone him with stones. For he hath wrought shame to Israel, and they shall burn the woman with fire, because she has dishonored the name of the house of her father, and she shall be rooted out of Israel. And let not an adulteress and no uncleanness be found in Israel throughout all the days of the generations of the earth. For Israel is holy unto the Lord, and every man who has defiled it shall surely die. They shall stone him with stones. For thus has it been ordained and written in the heavenly tablets regarding all the seed of Israel. He who defileth it shall surely die, and he shall be stoned with stones.
Okay. Okay, we'll bring it up. I still have such a hard time with the woman being burned by fire.
Yeah,
because of something a man did.
Yeah.
I'm still having a hard time with that one. I'm not going to lay all my eggs in that basket. But I just have to say I don't understand the cause and effect justification there.
Yeah, gonna say that one is interesting. I don't understand that one either.
My next comment is, I don't remember when it was. It was sometime, within the year or last year or something. I finally understood what in the scriptures when it says they shall surely die. And God, not necessarily talking about physically. He's talking about that death of separation from him. Just like he told Adam and Eve, if you eat of that fruit, you shall surely die.
Yep.
And it's that separation from God.
Correct.
And so for somehow that has to do with the sin of uncleanliness, adulteress. But I just still have a hard time with the woman having to pay for the men's, pardon my French, crap.
Yeah, and it's still in over there in those parts of the world, those ideas in part still exist.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it is not a favorable place as a woman.
Right. Right.
And but you can see though that if these are the generational stories that they've been brought up on, why those would still be in existence.
Right. And my question is this what God is saying? Yeah. Right. Someone is writing this, and there's nothing here that says that God says this. There is nothing here. This is from God, that a woman has to burn because a man defiles her, and has brought shame to Israel. She has to burn with fire. There's nothing here that tells us that was God's choice and that God is making this
because
a law, so to speak.
Because we do have laws of the land that are different than God's laws. There are differences. Is this one of them where they're putting down a law to say this, if a damsel is defiled, this is the punishment. Why that punishment also falls on the innocent damsel is confusing. Right. There has to be something cultural, something that I do not understand, because that seems like an unfair price.
Right. No, I totally agree. There's got to be something we don't see in the story.
Yeah.
And I do wonder, because nothing here says that this is God speaking.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so we don't necessarily know that this is a commandment or a law laid down by God.
Right.
This may just be how they take care of things back then.
Maybe. And maybe we'll find out finishing this up. I will say, though, that in the Genesis version of this story, Jacob does go to talk to Shechem and his father. And in that process, the beguiling is that Jacob says to them, you might be able to have her for, you might be able to have our daughters for wife, which obviously is a no-no. Jacob and them have already stated that you don't marry outside of being what we'll later call Israelites.
Right.
But he tells them, you can marry our daughters, but you have to be circumcised. So Shechem and his father and their men go out and get circumcised, and then they get slaughtered.
All right. Okay. There's some pain going on in those bodies.
Yeah, like, So they agree to it because he really does want her to be his wife. So he's
why not?
Why not? He's willing to get circumcised, and then they get killed. That seems like a father's wrath to me, like Jacob's wrath. It seems like Jacob's wrath and his son's wrath about what has happened.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that we don't have any of that
here, right?
Right?
You would think, we've talked so much about circumcision that you would think we would have some part of that story there, but it is in the canon. So I find those accounts very different. Very different.
Yeah. Just because it's in the canon doesn't mean it actually.
I am aware, just because it's considered canon doesn't mean that is.
And just because this is not in the canon doesn't mean it's not
correct. Which is what makes this confusing for people.
Different story, interesting that But this is the way it's been the whole time we've been reading Jubilees. Is they are short little verses that say a lot.
Yes,
but not as much explanation is added to it. They got slaughtered.
Well, not only that, but according to the Genesis story, part of the slaying of them is because their sister Dinah was still in Shechem's house. So in part, it was we're going in to get her, and it was killing on the way to get her out.
Oh, okay. So there might have been like a little bit of a hostage thing happening if they don't let her be his wife.
Yeah. Okay. But according to this account too, they also took then all of Shechem and Hamor's sheep and oxen and basically took all their stuff.
Okay. Well, you got to protect the children. I'm just saying.
I know I know this is one of those moments of, and it doesn't actually say in the Genesis account that it was of God or any of the stoning or put to fire or any of that.
Oh, really? Good.
Yeah. So I'm finding those accounts actually really different in their focus.
Yeah.
And in their, this is what God wants here, and that stuff just isn't stated there.
Yeah.
In Genesis.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of that. This is why, again, when people are reading the Apocrypha, like we are here, and you're looking at the accounts within the Bible, people will say, well, the Apocrypha is like some thing off to the side here that, I don't know, you shouldn't look at it. It's scary. I don't know what you're going to find, and untruths. And you can have all these ideas about it. What we're, I think, finding is there's some interesting things that have made us think, but there's situations like this one where I don't know. I don't know. I bet you she was really young. I bet that 12-year-old Mark, bet you that's kind of spot on. And her dad and brothers were angry, and they went out to try and get her, and that involved a lot of death.
Yeah, and then I think probably shouldn't say it, but this is what I think. I think they got angry, and they got out of control.
Yep.
And then they knew that they can solve what everybody's going to think about them getting out of control by
saying God
is involved, right? Saying, it's God's law that this doesn't happen, and we were just doing his bidding, whatever, right?
Right.
So I don't know what to really think of it, other than I think that the part of the fact that this should not happen to a 12-year-old is
the focus.
Probably what we can take away from it. That we can be for sure is the right thing to.
And that God would not want her to be defiled.
Right. Anything else I'm not so sure about, but I think that we can take away with pretty good assurity.
There we go. God. I like that. I can agree to that.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's as far as I've read, so I don't know what we're up to next, but here we go. Verse 10. And to this law there is no limit of days, and no remission, nor any atonement. But the man who has defiled his daughter shall be rooted out in the midst of all Israel, because he has given of his seed to Moloch, and wrought impiously so as to defile it. And to thou, Moses, command the children of Israel and exhort them to not give their daughters to the Gentiles, and not to take for their sons any of the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is abomination before the Lord. For this reason I have written for thee in the words of the law all the deeds of the Shishimites, which they brought against Dinah, and how the sons of Jacob spake, saying, we will not give our daughter to a man who is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. All right.
So I find it interesting that term, his seed to Moloch,
Mm-hmm.
that actually refers to the god Moloch from the Canaanites, who they did child sacrifices to Moloch.
Ooh, okay. Well,
So
that's
what it's referring to, because he has
Mm-hmm.
given of his seed to Moloch, meaning his children to be sacrificed to Moloch.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm confused in verse 11 where it says, and do thou, Moses, command the children of Israel. Where did Moses come from?
Yeah, I have no idea. That was very confusing.
Unless this is being written, obviously it's being written after the fact.
Right, after the fact.
So I guess we could discern
Mm-hmm.
that this is being written during the time of Moses by somebody.
Right. At least that part. But yes, it seems that way.
Yeah. Okay, so now we come to some uncircumcision stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds a little bit like it's past what you read in the King James Version.
Mm-hmm.
So let's find out, unless you have anything else to say about that.
Nope. I just think it's probably being brought up in a way because that was involved somewhat in that story, that it's a topic, but we're not getting the whole story. So it seems a little
that's what I mean.
Out of sorts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so 13.
Yep.
And it is a reproach to Israel, to those who live, and to those that take the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is unclean and abominable to Israel. And Israel will not be free from this uncleanness if it has a wife of the daughters of the Gentiles, or has given any of its daughters to a man who is of any of the Gentiles. For there will be plague upon plague and curse upon curse, and every judgment and plague and curse will come upon him if he do this thing, or hide his eyes from those who commit uncleanness, or those who defile the sanctuary of the Lord, or those who profane his holy name. Then will the whole nation together be judged for all the uncleanness and profanities of this man. So again, it's that repetition of do not take you, just like it was repeated over and over to Jacob. Do not take you a wife from the Canaanites. Do not take you a wife of Gentiles, of anyone who is not us.
Right.
Which I can understand that thinking, especially with
absolutely
having very different customs, very different ideas about festivals and days of the week and all of these things. What you can eat, what you can do, being circumcised, so different than the hedonistic world around them, that, I mean, all Rebecca, Jacob's mom, kept saying was, I cannot stand my Canaanite daughter-in-laws.
Right.
Because
she said it like 3 times.
Yeah. And I can understand that, because they are not understanding the traditions. They
were raised different.
They're not going to raise their children the same way necessarily. So you get this really disjointedness that I think in the end just causes more ire.
Yeah, and I think that especially back then, but even now, the women do a lot more of the raising.
Yes.
Right, of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so things from her growing up are going to slip into the children. Not that they're trying to do bad things, right?
Right.
But
right.
You do what you see, right? And so whatever
Yes.
you saw growing up is kind of what you're going to do, unless it's something that's wrong and you are consciously trying to change that.
Mm-hmm.
But just little things are going to slip in, right? And so you want someone that has at least somewhat the same belief system that will make it easier, right?
Right.
To teach your children.
Yes, right. So I get that attitude right there.
Yeah.
Especially as he's trying to build, as God is trying to build his people, because he's not finding a lot of righteous men.
Right.
And everything has been put upon Jacob. So
yeah, there's a lot on his shoulders.
There's a lot on his shoulders. So that part, I'm like, okay, I get that. I can get that.
Yeah.
Be careful.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 16.
16. Was it me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you read about the plagues. Okay. And there will be no respect of persons, and no consideration of persons, and no receiving at his hands of fruits and offerings and burnt offerings and fat, nor the fragrance of sweet savor, so as to accept it. And so fare every man or woman in Israel who defiles the sanctuary. For this reason I have commanded thee, saying, testify this testimony to Israel. See how the Shechemites fared and their sons, how they were delivered into the hands of 2 sons of Jacob, and they slew them under tortures, and it was reckoned unto them for righteousness, and it is written down to them for righteousness. And the seed of Levi was chosen for the priesthood, and to be Levites, that they might minister before the Lord as we continually, and that Levi and his sons may be blessed forever. For he was zealous to execute righteousness and judgment and vengeance on all those who arose against Israel. Okay, can I just say this?
Yeah.
This makes it sound more like a battle when it doesn't seem to have been a battle.
Yes, it does have a larger sound of, but we don't know how many people were slain.
Well, all the men were slain.
All the men, and it seemed like he had a pretty big like group.
Well, I mean, when here it says,
because this is where I'm.
All of those who arose against Israel. I mean, I don't mean this. Well, you can't even bring this out of your mouth without it sounding stupid or wrong, but okay, I can't even say it because I don't think it's going to be taken the right way.
Then
seems like a big
battle.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Get me out of my.
So I'll get you out, Myrna. I will save you. So the interesting thing here is, when we're reading the Apocrypha and we were reading about Abraham, we were amazed at realizing that when they're saying Abraham's household, these days when we think about a household, okay, it's me and my kids and my husband, which amount to 4 people. You add my daughter-in-law and it's 5 people.
Yeah.
Okay? His household had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. It had like 320 men alone.
Yes.
So if we're talking about harem here and Shechem, harem, I'm wondering if his household is like that there are, when he says household, there are a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, and then they make the point to say, all of the men. How did they put that? Because it was like, and left not a single one remain. And slew all men whom they found in it, and left not a single one remaining in it.
Yeah. And apparently it's only Levi and which of the other brothers? Simeon. It's only 2 of them. Okay, I'm gonna say for you to do that, either these guys don't use swords often enough, and they were just like slain, or God was with them in their righteous wrath.
Yeah, I that's what I mean. I think it was more that it just happened. They weren't like ready. They didn't have their own swords.
Right.
So
Mhm.
it's like saying, I won the race, and the fact that, you know, she or the other person got hurt, and it was just between the two of you, you still make it sound like it was a big, huge race, right?
I get it. So like two
You
people
see what
are
I'm saying?
racing, one of you gets hurt and the other one's like, I won. And you're like, but she fell down halfway through and didn't really finish the race.
Yeah, and it
But
was
you
not even
won.
really a big race. It was like,
Right.
and it's like this big thing, right?
Yeah.
Because here it says that they fought against all those who arose against Israel. They did they really rise against Israel? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It makes it sound like,
well,
this was a big to do. I mean, we was like, the homeboys were in the hood having a party, and they came after him, and everybody was fighting. But it seems to me more like they got mad and they went and slaughtered everybody, and everybody was like halfway on their way to get their swords when they got hit and killed.
And
right?
They got their sister back.
Yeah, and it doesn't like sound like it was like much of a fight back. So this verse just makes it sound like,
so
he gets to have the priesthood, and he's such an amazing man because he helped take care of everybody who rose up against Israel. And it's like, oh, okay, that's not really what I'm reading, but you go, dude.
Well, then I suggest, I know, go, dude. So then I'm going to suggest we watch the language as we go along here to see if, as we have these incidences, that instead some of that language is, it's against Israel. Was this against Israel, or was this a guy desiring a woman or desiring a girl, taking her, kidnapping her, defiling her, and then saying, hey, by the way, can I have her as a wife? Will you allow that?
It sounds like a little scuffle between neighbors.
Yes,
not that what happened to Dinah is not a big deal. Please don't think that. Don't think that I think that. What I'm just saying is that the rest of it,
yes, seems like
a big old scuffle between neighbors.
Yes, and in this instance, one of the neighbors got killed.
Well, a lot of the neighbors got killed.
Yeah, all of the neighbors living in the house got killed.
All the men got killed.
Yeah, it's just it is interesting. Excuse me, that they then broaden it to Israel. That is interesting language. They broaden it to, you're attacking Israel. Did they attack Israel, or is it this idea, Myrna? And this is gonna sound so West Side Story.
Okay.
You attack my brother, you attack all of us, right?
Right.
You attack one of the sharks, and all the sharks have been attacked and will take offense. It's that thinking that I don't think we hold in a lot of places in society the same way anymore, but maybe that was their thinking process.
Well, I think it goes back to these verses where we're not necessarily sure who is saying it.
Correct.
But they're making it sound like, adulterism and uncleanliness is an abomination against Israel. And so I guess that's why that would come up, as he wrote, that this is a problem against Israel.
Right.
But my whole problem is, it does seem like they made a really huge deal, when I think it would be just as good. I guess the word "good" isn't the right word for it. Just as acceptable, or more acceptable, I guess, if they just killed Shechem,
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
or Hammer.
The father.
The son. Oh no, Shechem is the son of Hammer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if just Shechem is the one who got killed because of what he did, to me, I guess I could go along with that.
Uh-huh.
This whole
I
thing
think most
seems weird
people
to
I
me.
think most people would think it would be fair.
Yeah, I could
Your
I could
son
go
has
along with this.
your son has defiled our daughter, and there will be retribution, and I want the life of your son or whatnot, right?
Right.
Um,
But the rest just seems like something has gone out of
awry.
control. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
seems out of control. I agreed.
Yeah.
I find it.
And I don't, and just like everything else in life, we don't really know the whole story, right? We really don't know
Correct.
exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so putting this as something that is acceptable for before God is hard for me. But we have things like this in the Bible, right? In the
Yes,
canon,
we do. Mm-hmm.
that are hard for me. And the thing is the person who writes this, or the person who was there, whatever, it's only from their point of view.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So they could be the ones that think that this is something that was acceptable of God, or that God is the one that said that this needs to be done, right? I That's where I sit.
So, okay, so one last thing here on this.
Yes.
So in Genesis 34, verse 30, this is what it says after they've killed they've slain all the men and taken
Dynavac.
yeah. And okay, actually verse 28 to 30. They took their sheep and their oxen and their asses and that which was in the city and that which was in the field and all their wealth and all their little ones and their wives took they captive and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I beg few in number. They shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, should he deal with our sister as with an harlot? So in this version, they actually take the wives and children captive. They bring them into the household of Jacob. And it seems like Jacob says to Simeon and Levi, you've caused me a problem.
Yeah.
Because we're not huge in number. And now you've done this. Now these other people, the Canaanites and Perizzites, are going to possibly come after us. And Levi and Simeon are like, should he deal with our sister as a harlot? Like, what did you want us to do?
But also think about, they can't go and kill all the men and then leave the women and children to die.
I know.
So they kind of have to take them back with them and find a way to support them and take care of them.
And we know that everyone who is within Jacob's household, if it is a boy, 8 days or older, has to be circumcised. So a bunch of those children end up circumcised, which would put them in covenant in that realm with God, with the God of Jacob.
Right.
That is going to be a change of pace for those people.
Yeah.
That like broadens it, but I also like that it used the word city to maybe say how expansive that was. But at the same time, what was the size of a city with just a group of people? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. But yeah,
I do think it's interesting because there it feels like Jacob is chiding his children in a way.
right,
You've brought trouble on Israel.
right.
Not that God sent you out to do this, but is
Yeah,
it
it doesn't.
possible that they're justifying it with God? It feels in that one, if you take the Apocrypha version and this, it almost feels like the Apocrypha is saying they were justifying it with God, saying, but he defiled one of our daughter, our sister, and punishment need to be had, and we dealt it out, and it was righteous because our God would not have wanted that. And that can be true, but it also can be twisted a little bit.
Right, right. Yeah, just because one person does something wrong doesn't mean God justifies you to do something wrong to make a penance for what happened.
Correct. This one is dicey, Myrna. You're right.
I told you we were getting into where I don't want to be.
Yeah. All right.
I hate these kind of things with little children
I know.
because they're
I
so
know.
sweet and innocent, and
Mm-hmm.
they deserve all the love and respect they can get.
Okay. So 19, right?
Yes.
And so they inscribe as a testimony in his favor on the heavenly tablets, blessing and righteousness before the God of all. And we remember the righteousness which the man fulfilled during his life at all periods of the year, until 1,000 generations they will record it. And it will come to him and to his descendants after him. And he has been recorded on the heavenly tablets as a friend and a righteous man. All this account I have written for thee, and have commanded thee to say to the children of Israel that they should not commit sin, nor transgress the ordinances, nor break the covenant which he has ordained for them, but that they should fulfill it and be recorded as friends.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with most of that.
No, I don't have a problem with most of that.
I think timing now, as I've heard a lot of things about numbers and about things like that, timing is meaning more to me than it ever did before.
Okay.
Not that I understand any of it. But
Right. Right.
you know me and numbers.
Yes.
We're not friends.
You're not the best of friends. No, that is true.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going. But if they transgress and work uncleanness in every way, they will be recorded on the heavenly tablets as adversaries, and they will be destroyed out of the book of life, and they will be recorded in the book of those who will be destroyed, and with those who will be rooted out of the earth. And on the day when the sons of Jacob slew Shechem, a writing was recorded in their favor in heaven that they had executed righteousness and uprightness and vengeance on the sinners, and it was written for a blessing. And they brought Dinah, their sister, out of the house of Shechem, and they took captive everything that was in Shechem, their sheep, their oxen, their asses, and all their wealth and their flocks, and brought them all to Jacob their father. Okay, well, maybe we were wrong.
Okay, but here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
And he reproached them because they had put the city to the sword, for he feared those who dwelt in the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And the dread of the Lord.
25. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
25. And the dread of the Lord was upon all the cities which are round about Shechem. And they did not rise to pursue after the sons of Jacob, for terror had fallen upon them. So Jacob reproached them not for slaying them, but reproached them because by doing so, man, you're going to cause this problem with our other neighbors. But it doesn't seem he said you did the wrong thing, right? You did the wrong thing for your sister. It was the way they went about it, maybe. you did it with the sword, and that's going to cause problems for us.
No, if you read that, it says they had put the city to the sword. In other words, you have put our city to the sword, and our friends are the ones that will be holding that sword. The Canaanites, the Perizzites.
Put to the sword.
And that's where he's worried about, right? But I kind of like the way he says that. You put the city to the sword. You've put us in danger.
So, accordingly here, it's a phrase used, putting a city to the sword. It's used in the Bible to describe most of the time the Israelites' conquest of cities in the promised land, where they were commanded to completely destroy the inhabitants of their possessions and their possessions. So this is where the Lord is like, lay waste to the whole city.
Yeah.
But he reproached them because they had put the city to the sword. So they had laid waste to everything. For he feared the retribution of the surrounding people.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that he reproaches them for doing it, but it comes off as righteous.
Yeah, he doesn't like that they. I think maybe he just doesn't like that how well they executed it.
Maybe that it was complete devastation.
And then you bring everybody back with you.
And you bring everybody back with you. And though we have all those possessions, people are so going to hate us.
Yeah. Okay,
I would fear it. I would fear that.
Okay, so maybe I totally am not understanding God, because if these last couple of verses are correct, it almost sounds like it was a call from God to put the city to the sword.
Maybe.
Which makes me think there's got to be more in the background that we don't know.
Yes.
Maybe it's not been just that one child.
Maybe.
God's done. Right?
Context matters.
Right. Yeah. Because I don't see him doing this and this still sounds wrong either. It's for doing it for one child, and that sounds wrong. And I feel bad saying that, but I said it.
This is where people, frankly, Myrna, this is where people look at us as religious, Bible believing people and say, how can you believe in that God?
Yeah.
How can you believe in a God who would have all those families destroyed because all the men have been killed, all of the loss, all of the grief, and now they're being taken captive, all of their possessions? How can you believe in a God who would say that that was a good thing?
Right.
I understand that perplexing situation. It seems like a paradox to me.
Yeah, there has to be, because of my testimony of my relationship with God and with the Savior. There has to be stuff we don't know.
Yeah.
Because they never do anything except anything that's going to hurt their children unless they absolutely have to.
Right. Well,
I mean,
I just had a thought, Myrna.
Yes.
Could it be possible, and this is me, of course, thinking off the cuff here, could it be possible, because of the Savior's position of being the mediator, of being the one who dies for sins and fulfilled the law, could it be that the God here that we're experiencing is the God of law You break the law, and there is a harsh punishment. If you're not fulfilling what he has asked, there are consequences of death and destruction. But when Christ came and fulfilled that, he brought mercy, and we only know a world where Christ has been here and mercy has been instituted. So these moments are...
I think you got something there. I'd have to mull it over, but you might have something there.
And maybe it comes off so harsh to us because we have the Savior's atonement. He went through that finally, but God, we've always known that.
We've always worked with mercy. They did not.
They did not. So if it's only laws, then if the law is you do not defile someone, then could I see God going, then all of you are destroyed? Because it's not just Shechem and Haram. They created an environment as the rulers, Haram as the ruler of that city. He created the environment that said that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
So destroy them from off the face, those men who have those beliefs.
Yeah.
That's just that just literally hit me.
That sounds really good. We might have to mold that one over a little bit. It's kind of like we can't punish people from the past based on the way we live our life now.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Correct.
So we can't judge God, which we shouldn't do anyway, but we can't judge God by putting the God we know into the scenario.
Right.
Because he wasn't dealing with a time when there was mercy.
Right. Not in the way that we live.
Mercy had not come about yet.
In that way with the one God.
Yeah, and once it had, these people that have lived in the past can also take advantage of the atonement. But it hadn't happened yet.
But it hadn't happened yet. In that kind of
that's an interesting concept. That's an interesting concept. I'll have to mull that one over a little bit. I like it though.
Because I'm just wondering if that helps explain God here to me.
It would help for me if I could find a space to say this is true.
Correct.
Which
it would help for me. It is. It's a thought. It's an idea.
It would help things for me because I don't see it. I don't see the justification of a whole town of men to be killed.
Right.
But that's just me.
Right. Interesting.
So, there you go.
Oh my gosh. We had a lot to say about this week. Oh my gosh.
We did. This was a long one.
This one was hard though. That's why it's long.
Yeah. We had to really go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we did.
All right.
All right. That was a doozy. Okay. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you got through the entire video to this point because we'd love you to like and subscribe. New theories brought out, very hard things to be thinking about today in the way that we look at God, and especially in the Old Testament, in this Apocrypha version. So many things to unpack and figure out, especially for me, figure out what it is I believe. What is the truth that I will take away? And what parts don't matter sometimes. But what is the truth here? Can we fully get at it? I don't know. From our religious perspective, being members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we would say that the Holy Ghost can tell you the truth of all things.
Yep.
So is there a space to do that here? I would say yes. And at the same time, it's also learning and growing, getting more information, discovering new things within myself. And putting these ideas up against each other and using that mind God gave me to see the reason here, because I do want to understand God. I do want to understand that relationship I have with him.
Right.
Just so important. So thank you so much. And
Yes.
please really like and subscribe. Comment if you have comments. If you think we were totally off base here, let us know. If you totally agree, let us know. If you're in between and you don't know, let us know. All right, guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And as always, Myrna and I like to say, what is it? Apocrypha.
Apocryphal.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
All
See
right,
you next
thanks.
week.
Bye.